Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jillian and I channel the Akashic Records. So today's topic I'm really excited about. I'm going to talk about sacred union. So this is the coming together of masculine and feminine energies. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, I have touched on this topic before in other videos about how right now on Earth, there is a shift happening where the masculine and the feminine are coming into union with one another. And so this topic is very complex. I'm really curious, excited to see what comes through, because not only is sacred union applying to an external person, so coming together with your person in this lifetime, but it is also this union of the energies within yourself. I've been studying masculine and feminine energy dynamics for a long time now. I incorporate it into all of my work. I like to think I have quite a deep understanding of masculine and feminine energies. And so we're gonna see what we're gonna see what they say. I feel like almost like fluttery, a little nervous, because I really don't know. I know what I have in my mind about what might come through, but sometimes these readings shock me and they share stuff that I had no idea they were going to share. So we're going to find out. All right, so if you're new here, I say a prayer which allows me to raise my vibration up into the dimension of the records. I read part of it out loud, part of it in my head. Once I'm finished reading the prayer, I will be in the records and I will be able to channel information through. I channel on behalf of the collective, so this applies to my collective. So if you're here watching this, and if you stay watching it, and if you resonate, you might be part of my collective, and this message is most likely for you. All right. Mother God, help me to open my heart. Protect me and guide me away from any fears or resistance. Remove all judgment and allow me to channel the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of all. Remove any obstacles from the connection to and the awareness of the truth. Help me to surrender to truth and allow it to flow through me unhindered. I now request access to the Akashic Records of the collective. Help me to know the collective in the light of the Akashic Records, to see the collective through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of the collective have for it. The Akashic Records are now open. Namaste. So right away they're saying a lot of you have been going through a sacred initiation. So for many of you, you have spent potentially your whole lives leading up to these next few years, because within these next few years, there is going to be a much stronger merging of these two energies, the masculine and the feminine. Now, for some of you, this initiation has been through love, through relationships, through hardships, through learning to feel your emotions. For some of you, so essentially, you are preparing to meet the person who matches your energy in a way that balances the polarity within and without. So in, the older days, there was masculine and there was feminine. And oftentimes, whichever person in the relationship was taking that pole, they lacked the other pole. So there would be women who were extremely in their feminine energy and they, lacked direction or safety or certain components of masculine energy within themselves, and they looked externally to find someone to complete them in that way. With the masculine, there was sometimes a lack of touch with their emotions, with softness, with the heart. And in the new age, in the energies that we're coming into, these two people are coming into that wholeness and that fullness within themselves, and then they are coming together to establish an even greater polarity. So what this means is, within yourself, individually, you are learning how to create safety in your bodies. You're learning how to feel your emotions. You are learning what your truth is. You are learning what the truth is, because there is the truth and there is your truth, and they are connected. Because if you live from the truth, your truth is going to be in alignment with that. How do I describe this? So the truth is that duality is a illusion, and that we are all one and we are all whole, and all emotions, the entire spectrum, is worthy of love. Love is truth. Truth is love. And all the different components of love are rolled into this truth. And when you live from love and you live from that heart space, you find your truth and you live as that true, authentic version of yourself. Then you will meet a counterpart who is a reflection of that love and of who you are, who is going to see you fully, and who is going to even more deeply anchor that truth and that love within you. So the topic is so complex. So many of you have been in an initiation period of learning who you are, learning what your truth is, learning that you are love, learning what real unconditional love is. So stepping outside the trauma of codependency or of seeking that love outside of yourself, you are learning how to give yourself that love. And once you find that place, you're then able to love others in the same way. So you're allowing them to be who they are and to have their space to show up as who they are and to love them fully for who they are. You're essentially meeting a counterpart, someone who is like you in a lot of ways, but then also is maybe a little bit different than you, to help to establish a greater wholeness altogether. So how this looks on the collective scale is, we have been living in the patriarchy for the last 10,000 years or so. And before that, many places, tribes, etc., they did revere the feminine. The feminine's wisdom and the feminine's oracle was looked at with respect and was honored. But it is very powerful. Feminine energy is very powerful. Feminine energy is the unseen. It is emotions. It is thoughts. It is the higher realms. It is all of the information. It is all of creation. It is everything that is unseen. And it cannot be seen without the masculine. And so within ourselves, we have masculine energy, which creates the structure and the support for the feminine energy to be channeled through and to be made into form. We cannot have one without the other. Now, when you learn to honor the feminine, which is, these like connecting with the higher realms, these messages you might receive from the higher realms, but it's also the emotions within yourself, the thoughts within yourself. When you learn how to witness this, and so step back out of the experience of it, step back and become the observer of this energy, that is when you find this balance within your masculine and feminine. When you are able to step back, observe all of the energy and information you are seeing, and then take action from that place, or step forward from an aligned place that is in alignment with your heart, that is honoring yourself. So many people have been healing deep abandonment wounds, and sometimes with abandonment wounds, we might think of it as, oh, your dad left, or yeah, that's like the easiest example. Your dad left when you were little, but it's not always that. Sometimes being abandoned means being left when you're a child to not heal, to not deal with your emotions, because when you're a child, you don't have, your brain isn't fully developed, and so you need a safe container. You need someone to model how to feel emotions. You need someone to hold you in that emotional expression. And those of us who didn't have that model or didn't have that example were never taught how to feel through our emotions, or that all emotions were worthy of love. And so this abandonment can be something like that as well, or having inconsistent unconditional love, because as a child you deserve unconditional love from your parents. That is your birthright. You deserve to have that safety, to be protected, and you deserve to be seen and witnessed and loved in your full expression of who you really are. Many of us didn't receive that. Not our parents' fault necessarily, because this is the generational trauma and the ancestral trauma that we're healing. So as we go back and back, and like I mentioned, there was an imbalance between the masculine and feminine energies before this time. And so if our dads weren't present emotionally or present at all, if our dads weren't standing in the masculine role of being that safety and that container for the household, and they weren't present, and a lot of times the mothers were taking up that space of the masculine, and there's actually been almost like a reversal of these energies in a lot of ways. The women are the ones who have had to step up and lead in a lot of situations, or make all the decisions, or sort of be the safety for the household. And then if the woman is carrying resentment or unresolved emotions or anger or these sorts of things, then that gets put onto the child, and then the child receives what the mother is capable of seeing in herself. The child then sees that in themselves, and oftentimes that means the child wasn't seen fully for who they are. There's a lot of shame around emotions, shame around negative emotions. A lot of people weren't taught how to healthily feel their anger, or that anger is a healthy emotion, but it just needs an outlet. They were taught anger is bad, or you should be ashamed of your anger, or you should shove it down. And that is not true. Anger is very powerful when harnessed in the correct way, and when given a place to be expressed and felt. When it is not given that when it's shoved down, that's when it can become explosive, or it can cause disease, or it can be misconstrued or seen as shameful. And so for a lot of us, the last however many years, and some of us will still, we're all at different points in our journey. So talking about sacred union and how we're entering this era, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be meeting that person right away. If this is new information to you, if you haven't really been doing this healing, then maybe you're going to take some time to find that sacred union within yourself. However, like I mentioned, there are lots of unions coming together. And so for some of you, you will be meeting people where you're at. So they will also be in a process of healing, as will you, and you will be mirrors for each other along this journey. And so many of us, so you've either been in this initiation or you're entering this initiation of learning to love yourself fully, learning to witness all of your emotions without shame, learning that love is not unconditional giving. There's a lot of wounding around living from the heart, or giving all your love, and finding emotional satisfaction, or finding fulfillment, or feeling like you deserve something because you gave all this love, when really you were abandoning yourself, or you weren't honoring your own boundaries, or you weren't listening to that voice of truth within you saying, no, this isn't for you. Unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional giving. It means honoring yourself and saying when you need to, and placing boundaries and these sorts of things. So the world is our mirror, and everything that is not healed and resolved within us is going to be attracted to us. And so there's a lot of, smoke and mirrors in this whole journey, because sometimes we're going to attract people who are abusing our boundaries, who are reflecting where we are not holding that space within ourselves. Sometimes we're going to be calling forth reflections of places where we have yet to love different shadow aspects of ourselves. So parts of ourselves that we've maybe pushed down, and then we see it in someone else and we don't like it, but we don't recognize that that is also alive within ourselves. We're going to be some of you have been encountering relationships where you're letting your boundaries be crossed, or you're, feel almost like a savior. You're like, well, I see them for who they really are, and I love them, and I understand them, and so therefore I'm going to give them this love. No, that's not the lesson here. The lesson is the truth. How are you being treated? How are you feeling? Is this person capable of giving you what you need? And so some of you will be walking away from relationships. Some relationships are going to be taking breaks and then coming back together. A lot of this like weaving in and out. Some cords are going to be cut, but not forever. They're going to be cut, and then there's going to be a new cord formed that is more nourishing for both people. Remembering that God is within all of us, and different people are at different points on their journey. And when you don't set boundaries, you're not only doing a disservice to yourself, but you're also doing a disservice to the other person, because you're not letting them learn the lessons that they also came here to learn as well. So as we step into this sacred union energy within ourselves, within our partner, within the collective, it's also stepping into this energy of unity and of union as a whole. So that's this understanding that we are all connected, we are all one, and we do need to fill our cups first. We do need to learn who we are. We do need to give ourselves that love first before we can then step out in the world. There's a healing pattern of codependency into independence, which then moves into interdependence. So some of you are at various points along that journey as well, whether you're healing codependency, whether you're in an independent phase where you really need to be pouring everything into yourself, or whether you are beginning to learn interdependence and learn where you need to give grace or see things from the other person's perspective, or even just have trust in God and in the God within yourself and the God within that person. So you have been initiated, you are being initiated to be in the right place so that you can meet your person at the right time, to be in a space where you are healed enough to actually operate within a conscious relationship. Because if you are not in this place of being conscious, then you might sabotage it. You might believe you're unworthy. You might not honor and see them for who they really are. So anything that you're going through, if sacred union is what you desire and what you've come here to do, sacred union with another, you need to be initiated first into that energy. And it starts with yourself. It starts with learning to love yourself, learning about your own masculine energy, your own feminine energy, how those two energies operate within yourself. And once you have come to a place where it is going to be healthy and safe to come in union with another person, then this process expands even greater. And so when you come into union with another person, they are your mirror. And so if you are a woman, or if you resonate with the feminine pole, because of course gender is a little misconstrued in this reality, regardless of your gender, you are either going to be on a masculine pole or a feminine pole. That is going to be your true essence, where you're going to be it's going to be the pole that you call in the opposite for relationship. So you could be a man with a feminine pole. You could be a woman with a masculine pole. You could be non-binary and be in whichever pole feels better to you. Okay, that's not the meaning of gender in this sense. But if you are someone who is in the feminine pole, and so you are operating as a feminine being, which is, leading with your feminine energy, because you will have both, right? And the masculine would be leading with their masculine energy, but will also have both. If you are someone who is leading with your feminine energy, you're going to call in a partner who is leading with their masculine energy, and they are going to be a mirror for the healing that you have done with your masculine energy. So if you are to be, essentially, yes, they are leading with their masculine energy, and they are a mirror for your masculine energy. So you will still have masculine energy inside you, but they're almost like the physical representation of that masculine energy. And so in partnership and in relationship, there's a lot of lessons that can be learned here. There's a lot of healing that can be done here within relationship. So you might meet your person before you are fully healed and be seeing each other as mirrors, which is helping to amplify your own inner masculine or feminine energy. So within sacred union relationship, so these two poles are truth and love. Okay, so love is, everything is love, right? All that is created is love. When you understand this, when you are able to give love to all the parts of you, to all of creation, to everything, if you are this being that is living in love, joy, pleasure, you might be more of this feminine being, okay? Leading from honoring and trusting your emotions and feelings. And okay, so what's that statement? Okay, yes. So you will be like the physical representation of love. And now the masculine is the physical representation of truth. So the masculine is seeing the love and is operating and acting from that place of love. Often a being who is fully in her feminine will inspire the masculine to step into his full expression and to show up as who he really is. And a being who is in their masculine will allow the feminine to fully express herself and to be all that love and to be showing up in her magnetic radiance and in her full expression. And so they bounce off each other, because someone who operates from pure truth is safe, because truth is the highest form that there is. And so if they are operating at truth and they are living true to themselves and they are living by the truths of the universe, they are sovereign beings. They are so side note, a great way to learn the truths of the universe is the Kabbalion. There are really great truths there. Maybe you read the Bible and you like the truths there. Maybe you read a different form of scripture and you like the truths there. But there are truths that are like true no matter what. And they do all come back to the frequency of love. Once again, they're very interconnected. So if you are someone who is in the masculine and operating from truth and showing up as that person, you are safe. And the feminine needs a safe space to fully express herself. Now, this isn't to say that a feminine being isn't going to also be operating from truth, because, she has established that masculine and feminine balance within herself. We need both within us. And this isn't to say that a masculine being isn't also going to be operating from love, because he needs that balance within his self to be whole. So we each have both, but then in relationship, we sort of choose a pole that we are mostly operating from. And then it creates this even bigger container and dynamic to continue to expand and to grow. Because when you are safe, you can be seen. And when you can be seen, you can share. And when you can share, the energy increases and your overall vibration increases, and you can become more sovereign and become more authentic. And the power of who you are and who you really are at a soul level, it just keeps increasing. So coming into union is a very powerful thing that happens in the universe. And then imagine two sacred beings coming in union and then creating a baby, and this baby is born in truth and in love and gets to live as their authentic self from when they are born, and gets to, doesn't have to spend the first part of their life healing and erasing and relearning all these things. This is how the frequency of the planet evolves, is through people coming into their sovereign selves, living from truth and love, meeting their person, expanding that truth and love even further, and the more and more people that we do this, the more and more it increases the vibration, the more and more it shifts the frequency of the planet, and the more the planet begins to step into this sacred union within the collective. And it really comes down to that. Yes, so learning what truth is, this is a big part of the spiritual journey. So learning whatever sacred laws resonate with you, living this way, retraining your thoughts to match this frequency. Trust is so huge, because when we know God and when we trust God or universe or source or creator or whatever you want to call that from which we are all created, the creator of it all, when you trust that plan, when you know yourself, this is living in truth. And when you know yourself so deeply, so you know all the different voices in your head, where they come from, you know which ones you resonate with, you know how to access higher information maybe, you know how to sit with yourself, with your emotions, you know how to feel through your emotions, then you can make decisions and take action steps based on that truth, and you can live from your heart. And really, living from your heart is the main thing to do here. Living from your heart is the most powerful thing, and it is what shifts this planet, and it is what shifts the frequency. And as you go along the journey, you continue to strip away more and more of who you are not, and you continue to step more deeply into your heart and honor your truth and only act in alignment with yourself, and understand that when you make mistakes, it's also part of the journey, and not try to rush the process or control the process, but be in flow with the process. This is when it all comes together. So there are healing your feminine energy. When you decide you want to heal your feminine energy, it is just as important, if not more important, to also heal your masculine energy, because the masculine is the witness of the feminine. And if you decide to heal your masculine energy, it is equally important to learn how to heal your feminine energy, to learn how to sit with your emotions, feel your emotions, witness your emotions, because this is what is strengthening the masculine energy within you. The observer and the observed, right? The light which shines on all of the darkness, the one who sees all that is created. So many metaphors for the masculine and feminine, the dark and the light, the dark womb from which all is created, and as it is created, it is seen, and then it is loved, and then it grows. So yes. I loved how this video has gone. I had no idea how it was going to go. Is there anything else that you would like me to share in terms of sacred union? Healing your mother and father wounds is very huge in healing your internal feminine and masculine energies. So understanding the father is unconditional safety, the mother is unconditional love, and there might be places in your childhood where you didn't receive those things. And so resolving any emotions that you might have, it's totally okay. It's more than okay. It's amazing to fully love and accept your parents for who they are, because they are amazing. They are the ones through which you were created. They are very important. They are meant to be honored and loved. We don't need to change our parents. You chose them for a specific reason, right? You chose them because of the wounds you would like to heal, or the love you would like to embody, or, depending on where you're at on your journey, you chose your parents for these reasons. But you might still have emotions that are trapped inside: resentment, anger, grief. Grief if your mother wasn't able to fully love you, so you lived the whole first part of your life without that love. Grief for what could have been. Grief for resentment for a father not being a safe figure, for not modeling safety for you, for not modeling healthy masculine energy to you. These things must be healed in order to fully be in alignment with who you are. And with that being said, recognizing that you are your own mother and father. As you heal, you no longer place this responsibility on others. You fully accept your power. You fully accept your responsibility for you being here, for who you are in this experience. You accept that you are you are responsible. It's no one else's responsibility. It is yours. And so healing through these emotions that might come up, being the one to give yourself that safety, right? Saying no, putting boundary, like keeping yourself safe, your inner child safe. Also being the one to give yourself that love, that grace, that forgiveness, that understanding of innocence. That is your internal mother. So finding your internal mother and father voices and living as that person is living who you are and who you were always meant to be in this present moment. You were a soul, you were a being before you chose to come through these portals of your mother and father. You have an original soul blueprint of who you really are eternally throughout all lifetimes, throughout all timelines. There is a version of you, and that version of you chose these parents, and that version of you is who you really are, and that is the power that you have. You signed up and created this experience, these hardships, these lessons. You decided before you came here what you wanted to learn. You are not a victim here. Everything that is happening around you is happening for you. So how can you learn from those things? How can you take your power back? How can you live in love? The only way you will be able to extend that love and grace to others is if you extend it to yourself. And so recognizing, God created you perfectly for who you came to be in this lifetime. God, your higher self, has a plan for you, and that plan is going to play out for the highest good. Learning about the ego and the soul. These are all components of the masculine energy. Learning what your ego sounds like, learning how to connect to your soul, to your higher self. This is all part of the journey of healing the masculine as well. And then our mother earth, the creation, right? She is love. This planet that we are on, this creation that we are on, this is an expression of love. Earth loves you, right? Earth does not hold, she loves you no matter what. And the earth is a reflection of your body. Your body has been created. Your body is a representation of creation. So learning how to love your body is learning how to love that which is created, which is feminine energy. So learning how to love yourself and your body, anything that you don't love about your body, or any ailments or illnesses that are within your body. By learning how to heal and release, we learn how to heal and release. And so we learn how to come into a deeper connection with the body, because the body is a vessel of creation and has been created, so is a form of the feminine. And so when we can learn to connect to our bodies, and then even deeper so to our wombs, which is an even deeper portal of creation, when we learn to connect to these energies, we also really deeply heal our feminine energy. So connecting to your womb, which is the darkness, right? The darkest place. It is the dark space from which all is created. Connecting into your womb, that is you connecting deeply into your feminine energy. And with that also, we want to talk about pleasure, because being created, we are meant to feel pleasure. We are meant to feel it all. We are meant to be in the body, living, experiencing, feeling, loving, all of these wonderful things. And, for one reason or another, we have been disconnected from that body. But when we come back into connection with it, we do get to feel that pleasure. And that is also a form of the feminine energy. The feeling component is part of the feminine energy. So these are all routes that you can take on your healing journey to first heal within yourself, and then heal with another, or maybe you meet another along the path and you heal together. It doesn't matter. But this is where we are stepping as a society. We are moving from the independence, the individual. We are moving from this into the interdependence, into the unity, into recognizing we are all connected. We are all a part of the creation. We are all spirit. We are all connected to God. We have God within us, all of us. And so when we learn who we are individually, we can then become interdependent and we can then form these stronger relationships with others and therefore heal the collective. So it really is all connected. Is there anything else for me to share here? No? Okay. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to my video. Please let me know if you have any comments or if there's anything that this brings up for you. If you are a being, a woman, looking to connect more deeply with your feminine energy, I do have an amazing program that can help you out, an amazing community of women. And if you would like to connect more with your masculine, with your spirit, with the higher realms, and you know, your inner truth and inner knowing, my Akashic readings are amazing. Energy healing is an amazing practice which allows us to connect with the higher realms, the beings in the higher realms, and allow them to move through us and to heal and release energies that may be blocked. And so yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed creating this video, and we will see you in the next one.